So I made this little shelf and I recorded what I did, a little bit of step by step and some of the highlights. So you can watch and see what I did to make this little shelf. Working on making some scrolls to make a little shelf. So I put the 1/4-inch round bar in the scroll bender and just enough to go through. Just like that. That's the first bend. Here I'm setting up to do the second bend. I push it all the way up until I can't push it anymore. And this is all the bending arm, or the lever arm is all the way back, touching here. So everything's tight, everything's touching. That's how I line up the second bend for what I'm trying to do here. So then bring it all the way around to a certain point, trying to remember to stop at the same point every time in order to make the same symmetrical parts. So that's the second bend. Now I'm set up for the third bend. Same thing. Take it out, put it back in, flipped over. Everything's tight here. But now on this bend, the third bend, I'll bring it a little bit farther actually when I come around to the end. I'll bring it all the way till it touches, then I'll let it off. Just like that. Here I've got it again set up for the fourth bend. Everything's tight. Put the handle all the way back, the material all the way in, and just bring it around until it touches again. And then back this all the way off. Just like that. Here it is again, set up for the fifth bend. Everything's tight. Bring it around until it touches. And back it all the way back around. Alright, I'm going to try to show you this part. It's making the hook part that will hold it up. I'll put a fastener through this hole and that'll hold it to the wall. So it's just really hard to film this and do it at the same time. But I'll give it a try. So I get it started. You see it wants to slip out. So I just get it started to where it's about to slip out. Then I go back to there. Then after going back, I magically make a washer stick in there in between everything because I need that spacer to take up the gap, otherwise it'll slip out. If I had the right tooling, it would be no problem. Let's see if that holds. bring it around until everything touches. And then I'll move the washer back because I have to bend it just a little bit more. I want to close that all the way up so this part touches that part. Here, I'll finish the bend. Just like that. And then we'll get rid of that washer. Just set it aside. Bring this all the way back to the starting position. And then it doesn't line straight up. This happens every time. And that's okay. I can fix that. Just have to bring it over here, line it up over this hole, and hit it with that hammer. After hitting it with the hammer, bring it back over here, flip it around the other way. Just like that. And then bring the bender back around. Try to hold it all flat. And then bend it all the way to there. I want to bend them all in the same spot, so I'm using the hole in the bender right here as a reference line. Bend it right up to the side of that hole, right like that. So then this piece will be what holds the shelf to the wall. I'll put fasteners through these screws, and that'll be what holds it up. So now I'm working on cutting the brackets that I formed up earlier. I drew a square line on the bench, and I'm just cutting the pieces to sit right inside of that line. So I'll cut off quite a little bit. So that's before the cut, and then that's after the cut. So I pretty much cut off this whole side, so I probably didn't even have to do that last bend, but that's alright. It was just part, excess material, so I'd have to cut it off anyway. So, but that's the right angle that I'm looking for right there. So that's what the shelf is going to look like from the side, only these will be turned. It'll go like that against the wall and stuff. But that's kind of where I'm at so far. And now I'll have to figure out how I want to form the shelving itself and any other kind of decorative aspects I want to do. I'll figure out from there. So this part I am making the shelving decking. So I have to bend a bunch of wire to fill in the entire decking. So it's a repeatable bend. So I just bend it, flip it, bend it, flip it, and it'll make a pattern that I'll use all the way across the shelf. cutting all the parts I bent, I'm just laying them out by hand, spacing them out with whatever looks good by eye, and I'll go all the way across with them. And then I'll trim the end off up here to the proper dimensions I want for the shelf. So here I am just welding all the ends to the frame of the shelf. So now I have most of the parts ready, and I'll start assembling the shelving. I got the 2 shelves and the brackets all ready to go. So I just have to figure out how I'm going to hold them up as I tack them. And so I look around the shop looking for something to hold it. I find a little box that works just perfectly to hold the shelf up as I tack it and weld it. So I get both shelves all tacked up and square and ready for weld, and most of it just tacked. I go through and weld it. After welding it, I clean it all up, get all the spatter off, make sure there's no missing welds, everything's good, get it all cleaned up and ready for paint. So then I bring it in the house. I paint it in the basement because it's cold out. And this is the shelf all up in its spot. I got 2 nails holding it up, and just looking for stuff to put on it now. Thanks for watching.